guys, welcome back to my studio. I'm Elisalex from By Hand London Sewing Patterns, and I'm really excited about the video that I've got for you today. I'm going to be remaking the first ever skirt that I ever made. This is the skirt that essentially started everything for me. This is the skirt that ignited my love of sewing. This was the eureka moment, and I've loved it and I've worn it to death ever since I made it, despite the fact that it's made pretty atrociously. So I thought that I would talk a little bit about the skirt, show it to you, go in depth and show you the guts and show you how I made it, and then recreate it. I'm hoping this is going to be something of one of those kind of extreme weight loss before and after things, except obviously not with weight loss, but with seeing how far you come and seeing a skill evolve from kind of a fledgling interest or a hobby to a full-grown passion and career as well. So this is the original skirt. It's made from this incredible fuchsia pink shantung silk that I got from A1 Fabrics on Goldhawk Road in London. Unfortunately, they don't have the same one anymore. This was 13 years ago. I did go back to try and see if I could find the exact same silk in the exact same colour, but they just didn't have it, and it would have had to have been ordered from India, and so, you know, never mind. But I have got something similar. But so this skirt it's essentially, I mean, it's pretty simple. It's a high-waisted box pleated skirt. So I've got 4 big inverted box pleats here at the centre front, 2 at the sides, and then 1 at the centre back as well. It comes just below the knee, so it's about 24 inches long, and I just completely love it. It's so me. It has so many memories, so many amazing memories. I've worn this to so many things. So many parties, so many places, in so many different ways. I feel like this skirt really embodies and captures a really great chunk of my life. So it holds a lot of sentimental value for me. Even though I do wear it still, it's getting to the point where I'm a little bit embarrassed to wear it now, just because of the fact that even from the outside you can see how badly it's made. So that's why I want to make it again. I want to have a kind of new and improved, updated version of it, and yeah, so I'm really excited. This is the fabric that I've got to make it. As I said, I couldn't find the original, but I do have this, which is a really beautiful quality, even better quality actually, raw silk, in as close as I could get to the colour. It's pretty similar. It kind of, I mean, it's got that like fuchsia pink, which is what I was not ready to compromise on. There were a bunch of kind of candy pinks and sickly pinks and baby pinks and all of that, and that's just not my style. So this one I fell completely in love with, and I think it's perfect. And I think even the fabric itself, it's like the slightly sophisticated, more grown-up version of the other fabric. So I feel like that's fitting, seeing as I was 19 when I made the first skirt. I'm 32 now. Let's hope I'm a bit more sophisticated and mature. So I feel like this skirt might reflect that little increase in sophistication and maturity. So I'm gonna show you the guts in just a second. But before I do just want to quickly say I'm gonna be kind of brutal when I break it down, when I show you what the insides of the original skirt are like. And that's just me being brutal to, you know, 19-year-old me. I know that, you know, I was just starting out. I was a total beginner at the time, and I don't want anyone else that is a beginner out there or just starting out to take any of my comments or criticisms personally or to heart or anything like that. I'm doing this as a kind of, not even in competition with myself, but like a, you know, purely like a look how far one can get, you know. So it's all tongue-in-cheek, it's all in good humour and good taste, I hope. So let's have a look at the insides. So here we have the skirt. We've got the waistband up here. So as I said earlier, the basic construction of the skirt is that we've got 4 big inverted box pleats. So we've got one here at the centre front, and then we've got one here at the side, another on the other side, and another at the back. So the first thing you'll notice about this skirt is that it does not have a zipper. I had no idea how to do zippers at the time, so oh my god, so I didn't even bother. And I sandwiched 2 layers of the silk together to give it a little bit more structure. And instead of sewing a zipper, I pretty roughly just folded that centre back edge over and stitched it down. Again, pretty badly, very, very short machine stitch going on there. We'll get onto the buttonhole in a second. It's all kind of fraying, you know, on the inside here. I didn't finish that edge off. Here where it meets the waistband, it's just a bit of a nightmare, really. There used to be a button there, a really nice blue button, that came off. So yeah, so first, not mistake, I guess first learning curve, first thing I would do differently, first thing I'm definitely going to do differently this time is put a zipper in the centre back, because that won't do. I've constantly, whenever I wear this skirt, I kind of constantly have to fold, you know, kind of layer that bit over the back there and cover it up with a safety pin so that my arse isn't hanging out the back. Okay, next thing, I guess while we're at it, while we're here, let's talk about the buttonhole. Now, I'll definitely be the first person to say that I really, really hate sewing buttonholes. That hasn't changed so much. I think actually looking at this one, I was probably traumatized, and that's probably why I hate sewing buttonholes so much. This is a really, I mean, whatever, it's not actually that bad, but it's pretty kind of gaping open. It's not neat. It's totally fraying. Button on the other side came off, so instead I replaced it with 3 hand sewn plastic poppers to keep it in place. Although I only put 2 on the other side, so just these top 2, so then it would close like this, like that, and that would just flap open like that, and the arse would flap out of there as well. So yeah, the closure system on this skirt is definitely leaving a lot to be desired. So let's move on to the inside. So here we have that centre back seam. Now, I've got to say, I mean, I'm fairly impressed that I even had the go on the overlocker. I remember that I think it was my mum's new overlocker that had just arrived to her studio, so I thought this would be a perfect opportunity to check it out, to try it out even. But I think I probably left the overlocking to the very end, because I've obviously kind of like done it after having created this kind of centre back opening thing here. So it's all the overlocking is kind of having to, it's not very smooth, you know, it's kind of having to join into the seam allowance at a certain point so as not to get in the way of all the other things. We've got some pleats here that are just not at all even basted to the waistline there, pretty poor. No overlocking at the waistline, incidentally, just the centre back, both centre back seams there. So the other thing that you notice that this actually has a centre front seam as well. I think that was just a way of saving fabric, but I do actually really like the way that looks, so I am going to recreate that as well. Where else? What have we got here? It's the hem. The hem. Zigzag stitched hem. Nice. I don't really know what possessed me to stitch the hem with a zigzag, but at least the thread matches, so that's cool. I'm pleased with that. And I didn't overlock this centre front seam because it was all on the selvage, so it's not fraying, so there's no need to there, which is great. I would do that again. The one thing that I'm noticing throughout this is that my stitch length is so short. It must have been on the absolute shortest setting possible because all my stitches are insanely close together. Yeah, a bit of haphazard zigzagging. I don't know if you can see very close, but I must have been playing around as well with the different zigzag settings as I was actually sewing the hem, because it kind of goes from really wide to kind of dense and narrow. You know, just learning on the job. Typical me. So yeah, I mean, so we've got zigzagged hems, we've got blue overlocking done pretty shoddily, and yeah, the other thing here is that we've got these pleats at the waistline. If we go in as well to the next layer, what have we got here? We've got all these pleats that are just not basted together. So I wonder if I actually just didn't even, and here as well, they're kind of coming, it's hard to kind of actually see, but all these pleats that should have been basted to the waistline are just loose. It's a wonder I don't have any holes in my waistline. Another pleat that's coming loose there. I've already cut the fabric for my next one, so I've already taken the time to measure the pleats, how deep I did them, but you'll already see that can you see from there? It's pretty uneven. I mean, some of the pleats were 2 inches deep, some of them were 3 inches deep, some of them were 2.5. I think, if I remember correctly, I did do this all directly onto a mannequin. So I'm pretty sure I just, grabbed the fabric and just kind of like wrapped it around and pleated it and pinned it without actually then taking it off and measuring the pleats, transferring notches, making little snips, pinning the pleats. I think I just pinned it on the mannequin and then took it straight to the machine. So I'm not going to do that this time. So I've got, for my new one, I've already cut my, where are they here? I've already cut my waistband pieces. I'm going to be using the Megan Nielsen Tiny Culottes waistband pieces, because it's perfect for me. It's a curved waistband which fits my curves and waist much better than a straight one. So I've already cut, but I've modified it a tiny bit because this one calls for a side seam zipper, whereas I'm going to be doing a centre back zipper, so I've just added some extra seam allowance for my centre back zip there. So I've already cut my waistband pieces, and I have already measured and cut the fabric for my skirt. So I've already marked all the notches for all the pleats and everything as well. What I am going to do, I'm going to keep that centre front seam feature, and I have regulated the pleats so that they are exactly 2.5 inches deep, all of them. So, and I've marked all the little notches, I've marked out where all my pleats are going to be, so I've got exactly the same volume of the skirt, which if I remember right was about 66 inches. I feel like, hi. So I've measured it all out, and now I'm going to start sewing. Okay, so I'm really done. I've stitched the skirt, I've attached the waistband. All that's left to do is to insert the zipper and close the back seam and hem it. However, I think at this point I've kind of tried it on. I mean, as in like I've held it up to myself, and I feel like it could do, the only thing that's missing from this skirt that the other one had that I really love is that kind of, that stiffness, essentially, that kind of airy, floaty stiffness where that raw silk just kind of stays, you know, it's like it's got a, you know, it kind of just, it just stays, basically it stays in its little bubble, so it's got that structure to it, which this one doesn't have yet. So what I think I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to harvest one of the layers of the original skirt and use that to line this skirt. So then it will give it that same kind of volume and structure from underneath. And also, actually more than anything, I really love the idea that there is going to actually be something physical, something tangible from the original skirt still a part of this new skirt. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take the original silk from that first skirt and I'm going to pleat it again and underline it, underline this skirt with that original one. Okay. I'm a little bit nervous about doing this because it does mean unpicking the whole original skirt, which is kind of sad actually in itself, but it's for a good cause. So, okay, here we go. And it's all really kind of annoyingly top stitched as well, and as I mentioned earlier, I've used this kind of the tiniest, the narrowest, short, straight stitches, so they're going to be a nightmare to unpick. There's my actual unpicker. Oh yeah. On the floor. Okay. So I'm pretty much done. The only thing left to do is to hand sew the inside of the waistband, but I have finished the rest. The zipper's in, back seams are closed, lining is hemmed. I've decided not to hem the actual skirt because I've just tried it on quickly and I really like, it's kind of at the perfect length right now. and luckily I cut it so that the selvage edge would be at the hemline, so I don't need to hem it. It's looking really amazing, it fits like a dream. I can't wait to go and take some proper pictures and show it to you in just a second. I'm so thrilled with how the skirt remake has turned out. I literally love everything about it. I prefer the texture and the finish of the raw silk that I've used to the original Shantung silk. I think that underlining it with the original Shantung silk was an inspired last minute decision, although it was definitely a nightmare to unpick. But it's definitely given it that volume and that kind of lofty structure, and I kind of think the same personality really as the last skirt, which is what I was after all along. So thrilled.